I'm Rachel Dawsey. I'm the director here at the North Alabama Agriplex. Today I'm going to be sharing the story of the Little Red Hen, a folk tale. The Little Red Hen. One summer day, the Little Red Hen found a grain of wheat. "A grain of wheat," said the Little Red Hen to herself. "I will plant it." She asked the duck, "Will you help me plant this grain of wheat?" "Not I," said the duck. She asked the goose, "Will you help me plant this grain of wheat?" "Not I," said the goose. She asked the cat, "Will you help me plant this grain of wheat?" "Not I," said the cat. She asked the pig, "Will you help me plant this grain of wheat?" "Not I," said the pig. "Then I will plant it myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. Soon the wheat grew tall, and the Little Red Hen knew it was time to reap it. "Who will help me reap the wheat?" she asked. See her right there with her little sickle and that tall grain of wheat? "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the goose. "Not I," said the cat. "Then not I," said the pig. "Then I will reap it myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. She reaped the wheat, and it was ready to be taken to the mill and made into flour. "Who will help me carry the wheat to the mill?" she asked. "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the goose. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the pig. "Then I will carry it myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. She carried the wheat to the mill, and the miller made it into flour. When she got home, she asked, "Who will help me make the flour into dough?" "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the goose. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the pig. "Then I will make the dough myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. Soon the bread was ready to go into the oven. "Who will help me bake the bread?" said the Little Red Hen. "Not I," said the duck. "Not I," said the goose. "Not I," said the cat. "Not I," said the pig. "Then I will bake it myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. After the loaf had been taken from the oven, it was set on the window sill to cool. "And now," said the Little Red Hen, "who will help me eat the bread?" "I will," said the duck. "I will," said the goose. "I will," said the cat. "I will," said the pig. "No, I will eat it myself," said the Little Red Hen, and she did. Yum, yum. The end.
Good morning, boys and girls. Julie Kelly here with the North Alabama Agriplex, and I'm sitting in the West Elementary outdoor classroom here in Cullman, Alabama. We're going to talk to you today about wheat and our Little Red Hen program. Now, I know Miss Rachel has already read to you the great story, one of my favorites, The Little Red Hen, and now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about wheat. Now, when the Little Red Hen found the seeds, she planted several of them. It takes several to get a good crop, whatever you're going to make. So we're going to make more than just a cake with all this maybe. So what you've got, everything starts, all your things that you eat, fruits and vegetables, all come from seeds. And here is one little wheat berry. My fingers almost overlap, it's so small. You can call it a wheat berry or wheat seed, but this is what grows into one stalk of wheat. So as you can see here, we've got several stalks. This is, let's see, we've got some over here. Maybe I can pick up. There we go, that's a good one. Okay, so from one little wheat berry or wheat seed, you're going to get one stalk, okay? So you're going to need to plant a lot of these, like the Little Red Hen, to make enough to have you a cake or cornbread or things like that. Now, all our things that we grow in our gardens, and a lot of you probably have gardens right now. I know I started mine way back in probably March, so things are just now starting to bloom and get pollinated, and I've got some little cucumbers here and there and some little teeny tiny green tomatoes. All those were planted from seeds. And all your seeds are kind of like people. They're different. They're different shapes, they're different colors, they're different sizes, depending on what that seed's going to grow into. Whether it's going to be a big oak tree, or a stalk of corn, or some wheat stalks. So every little seed also has something on it to protect it until it's ready to grow under that soil. Now, when you go outside in the wintertime, your parents probably make you put on some coats or some jackets, so when you get outside, you stay nice and warm in that cold weather. Well, it's kind of like the same thing for a seed. They have an outer covering called a seed coat that keeps them protected until the conditions are right for them to take that coat off and break through and grow up towards the sun, and the roots, of course, will grow where? down into the ground. So every little seed has a seed coat. If you have a pecan, you don't just pop that in your mouth, you have to crack it, and that shell is that seed coat for that particular seed or that pecan. A kernel of corn, same thing. But this little wheat berry had a little seed coat on it. When that comes off, it looks like a little papery product. We'll show you here in a minute. It is actually called chaff. C-H-A-F-F. Chaff is that word for that little seed coat that's around all the seed berries. Now, once you have your stalks ready to pick or to harvest, I guess we should say, harvest your wheat, you can do it by hand if you want to. Well, that's the way a lot of people used to have to do it, when they would take the stalk, hold the top part of the wheat, hold it between two hands, and I always tell kids to hold them flat like that, not upside down, because you're going to want to keep the berries in your hand. That's the part you want. We don't eat this part for the wheat. We don't eat the chaff that's going to come off the little wheat berries. So you're going to hold it tight, fingers together, and just rub, 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 rub. Let's see, I might have to do it more than once. To see the chaff floating off in the wind, and then I should have, this is a pretty green one here, so you can see the wheat berries separated from the chaff, that outer seed covering. So we usually let all the kids have one stalk of wheat, and they can do the hand threshing. So when you're doing this movement with the wheat in your hands back and forth, that's called threshing. That's when you're separating the wheat seeds from the little wheat chaff. That's what blows off. The seeds, if you don't blow too hard, will stay right in your hand. And it's fun to sometimes see how many did you get. So I probably got maybe 4 or 5 in there, maybe more, that I can now plant with. So that's your hand threshing of the wheat. Now, that's a lot. If you're going to hand thresh, you're going to be doing that all day long and getting really tired. But a long, long time ago, years ago, before we had modern farm equipment, that's what we had to use. We used, if you can they see that back there maybe? Mm-hmm. The scythe. That's what that is. It's like a big sickle. If you've seen the Grim Reaper in cartoons and scary books, he holds that long pole with a metal rounded end, that really sharp blade, and swing it, and it would cut all the stalks or the sheaves of the wheat. So if you've got a big bundle of these together, it's sheaves. Those are your sheaves. So then you would take it into the threshing room and you would thresh it. You would beat it and you would separate the wheat seeds from the chaff, because you just want the wheat berries. But that sickle over there, or the scythe, that's the tool they would use by hand. Now that is some heavy duty stuff. If you're doing that all day long, you're going to be really tired, but you're going to have some really good muscles. I mean, you're going to look good because you're doing that all day long. You're going to come in from the farm, or from the fields, and you're going to be really hungry also. So thankfully, we don't have to use the scythe anymore, unless you just want to use it to learn by, of course. So it's important to know how we used to do things, but it's even better to know that we have come along with more technology over the years, with lots and lots of better machines, tractors, and I love to show these because it shows you the combine, which does lots of things in one. That's why it's called a combine. It combines many different processes of the wheat. It cuts it off. You can see the wheat stalks are gone. It rolls over, it cuts it off, goes up in the hopper, and separates the stalks and the chaff and the seeds. And then you can see the little chutes on the arm of the machinery. It's going to shoot it into those hopper trucks. It's a little close-up in here. I like this one better. You can see all the little grains, the wheat berries, shooting into that truck to be taken to either a place to keep it until they're ready to sell it, or prepare it for some other processes. But that's how we can do it now on the big, large-scale farms. And wheat is grown for lots of things. It's in so many different products. I bet everybody has probably at least 5 or 6 products in their cabinets at home that come from our wheat. Now, it's grown also for animals. We feed it to our animals. It's in dog foods and cat foods, and it's for horses and pigs. But I've got a big bag here of lots of different things that come from wheat. And we usually like to take a minute and ask our kids in the classroom when we do this program, raise your hand and tell me something that's made from wheat. And a big one's always what the Little Red Hen grew, which I think it was a cake or a pie, but she baked the cake or the buns or the bread from the wheat. Well, you wouldn't believe it. Maybe you would. We've got some taco shells. Definitely wheat in those. Pasta. Just about all your pastas, doesn't matter really what shape it is, it's going to be made from wheat. It's one of my kids' favorite cereals. It would be hard to find a cereal that doesn't have wheat in it. So this is just one that I have. I think I've got another one. It's another, my daughter's favorite, Fruit Loops. Shout out to Fruit Loops and Kellogg's. But wheat. Wheat is in cereals and pasta, and of course most popular, bread. We also, when we do this with our kids in-house, we have baked bread, and they get to knead the dough, and they get to taste the bread. Fresh bread smells so good. Also got some little snack cakes here. Both of these have wheat in them. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Making me hungry. And of course we talked about the pasta. So it's in so many different things. Bagels, breads, pizza crust, pie crust, all your cakes, your donuts, all kinds of different things like that. So wheat is in so many different things. It would be hard for us to live without it. So it's very important for us to teach the children about how it gets made, these products. One little seed, start out like this, but you couldn't have any of these products, whether it's macaroni and cheese or a cheese pizza, without the wheat. So it's really amazing to me that this one little wheat seed can grow into a wheat stalk, and you get all those together, you thresh them apart, process them, and you can have so many different things. And that can go with lots of other foods that we could talk about in a whole other program. But we're going to pause for a minute, and then we're going to let you look at different ways to turn those wheat berries actually into something you can use to cook with, like the Little Red Hen did when she took it to the mill to be grinded. You ready? Here we go.
We're talking about harvesting wheat today, and we're talking about how it was done before we had machines that did it. Big combines and cutters that would cut and harvest the wheat now. Before that, it was done by hand, and the object was to cut the stalk of wheat, and you would put the wheat together in what was called a sheave of wheat, and you would carry it to the barn where the threshing floor was, so you would thresh it. But the process of harvesting it could be done 2 or 3 ways. One way was just to take a knife. You could take just any kind of knife, like pulling out my pocket knife. Take your knife and go along and get hold of the wheat and just cut it. You could do that. Then they made a knife that was in a half moon circle that was called a sickle, and you could use it, and that was more efficient cutting it. And then if your back got tired from all that bending over, you would appreciate having something that was on a long handle, so you could just stand up and cut the wheat. And the thing that you did that with was called a scythe. It had a big long blade on it and a handle like this, and it would just cut it, and then somebody else would come along and bundle it up into a sheave. This is called a cradle. It's a combination of a scythe. Here's the blade of the scythe that you kept real sharp with your sharpening stone, and then these fingers make it a cradle, because not only does it cut the wheat when you go along, you pull it like this, and it's pretty heavy. It would take a lot of strength just to do it. But it would cut the wheat, and then it would gather it on these teeth so that it could be very easily bundled up into the sheath. And then later on, somebody would come along, gather all the sheaves, carry them into the barn, and it would be threshed. And that's another story talking about the threshing of it. But this is how you would use a sickle or a scythe or a cradle to hand harvest your wheat crop.
And tell us when you harvested the wheat.
you had two kinds of wheat. You had winter wheat, which this is. It grew through the winter. It would be green in the winter, and then it would get ripe in late May or June. So the harvest time, and I know a lot of the phrases of celebration of harvest time in June had to do with winter wheat being harvested in June. Then you could have a summer wheat that you planted in the spring, and it would be harvested in the fall. And depending on where you were, what your climate was, what did best, both were grown a little bit around here. And you have to remember the other grains also, rye and oats and barley, all of them are grown and harvested the same way. And I remember oats was always a summer crop, planted in the spring and harvested in August or September. But that's hand harvesting wheat.
And I'm here at the West Elementary Outdoor Classroom. Today we're talking about Little Red Hen and the story of wheat. So far you've learned about growing wheat, you've learned about harvesting wheat. So now we are going to process wheat, and the way we do that is we're going to grind the wheat. And this traditionally would have been done at a grist mill, and the grist mill could have been powered by a water wheel, by animals, by an engine or a tractor. But today it's much easier. We have a little wheat mill that's going to grind our wheat into, what does wheat get ground into? Flour. So wheat flour and all the products Julie told you about, the bread, the pasta, all that comes from wheat flour. So we start with these wheat berries or wheat seeds. We put it in our little wheat mill, and the mill will grind it into flour, and the flour is going to come in here. Now when it grinds it, it's really loud. This is called a whisper mill, but it's still really loud. So I'm going to turn it on, pour my little wheat harvest into the mill, and then it's going to grind it. Are you ready? I like to give it just a minute, because if you open it too soon, the whole bunch of flour goes everywhere. So we let it settle down for just a minute, and then we open it. And now this is whole wheat flour. Do you see it in there? So that probably made about maybe 1.5 cups of flour. So usually it makes a little bit more flour than you have the wheat berries. So I could make this into, it's still warm, I can make this into bread, or I can use it for a cake or biscuits, all kinds of things that we could use this flour, the wheat flour, for. So again, usually it would have historically been a grist mill where they would have used stones to grind it up. And luckily for us, we have this easy machine that makes it a lot easier. Now you can adjust how coarse the flour is, if you get a really fine flour or a thicker flour. But all these would work to make all of your breads and different products with. So that's our fresh ground whole wheat flour, just like the Little Red Hen did.